Welcome to WrestleMagic, part of the WWE podcast. I am your host, King Scully, and I'm representing the UK all day. It's WrestleMania season, baby, but first of all, we have my favourite pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, to talk about, the lead-up to Mania. The Royal Rumble began in 1988 and was created by wrestling legend Pat Patterson. Over the years, we've had plenty of winners, plenty of surprises, plenty of good feel moments, and I'm going to discuss them with two of my WrestleMagic teammates, the gardener Michael Groves and main Tanit's Maverick. How are we both doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad that you wanted to produce a show and do something with us today. And, just looking at Royal Rumble season, that's one of my favorites too. And we're going to get into the first Royal Rumble I saw or had seen, excuse me, and just look at like going forward, what the Royal Rumble means and how it has helped and hindered the business. Now, with that being said, how is my nephew?
Oh, man, I'm doing pretty good. God, I've been really busy lately, but you know what? Still making time for this, and honestly, I'm really happy to have Scully back on this show. I'm glad that you were able to come up with an episode for us today, and I'm really happy just to be back on here, man. I missed hanging out and talking with you, man.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. So let's discuss what the Rumble means to you, to us. So the Royal Rumble itself is my favourite match. I love the surprise entrance, the returns. There is always a legend in there somewhere, and I just enjoy the unpredictability that is the Royal Rumble. What about you, Mav?
Well, to me, the Royal Rumble is setting the stage for Mania. It is, all right, what's going to be the end of the, kind of want to call it almost like the finals of the year, leading up to the biggest event of them all. But also, it is a nice way for anybody to debut for the company at that point. It is a nice way for anybody to be able to just step in or honestly be able to have a shot at the top very quickly just through winning that match or just entering that match. I mean, many people have made their debut through the Royal Rumble. So onward from there, Gardner, your expertise, what do you feel about the Rumble?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, my friend. So you said that Pat Patterson created it. Now, a lot of people don't know that Pat Patterson created it to be on free TV. It was on the USA Network a long, long time ago. And the very first episode I watched it, I was actually being watched by Maverick's mother. And I was in my early teens, but I shouldn't have been watched, actually. But it was one of those deals where my parents, they really didn't trust me, and I guess they had a reason why. And so I had a little black and white television in my bedroom, a little box TV. It was about the size of a 2x2 box, one of those little things that you'd use for a cheap file cabinet or something like that. So I was watching it and pretending I was sick because Maverick's grandfather, my father, would not allow me to watch wrestling. He hated wrestling. Now he embraces it because he knows if you can't beat it, you join it. And he did that a long time ago. But I wasn't supposed to watch it, and Maverick's mother and I didn't get along that well at the time. So every time she would come up the stairs or something like that towards my room, I'd turn it off real quick. And of course, if you know those old knob TVs and their little contrast buttons and a black and white, it was very interesting. So what the Rumble means to me is, at first, it was not the road to WrestleMania. It was created as a distraction. As, can we do this? Can we do a free for view? And that kind of ties into our last show when we did the Kings of Coliseum, like free for views and things like that. So it served its own purpose, but it became something bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they started adding stipulations to it, and we're going to get into that too, as far as how I feel about the stipulations. But I will say it's one of my favorite matches. I do love the returns. I don't like every return. I don't like the silly returns. I don't like it when they put, what was it? Wasn't Drew Carey in one?
Yes,
it wasn't. Pete Rose was in one, I think. And like some of that stuff, it's like these people are never going to hold world championships. I'll tell you, this past year when they had Uso versus Uso, that was a callback to, what was it, maybe 2 or 3 when they had Demolition take on each other. It was amazing. I loved the callback because enough people had forgotten about it And I can give forgiveness when it's been my lifetime versus yours, Mav, or yours, Scully, and say, people don't remember about this, so we can revisit it. It's how do we revisit it? Now, they're not doing the same storyline. In fact, there was no storyline with Demolition. It was just they came out and they were the only people left in the ring, so they had to they went into it. Was great because nobody really believed they would do it. It was really cool. So the Royal Rumble to me means, surprises, fun. Of course, the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. I don't want to see people point at the sign anymore, but we'll get into that later. So going in, Scully, this is your show today. This is Rumble Magic. So tell me, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, don't go Cody Rhodes on me. Come on.
Well, you already have like ideas of things that you want to speak about, so let's speak about it.
Okay. So we've all said how much we love the Royal Rumble. Here in the UK, for example, if I was to watch the Royal Rumble, like any pay-per-view, I'd have to watch it at 1 a.m. in the morning. And there was times I did do that. I did stay up till like 1 a.m. and it wouldn't finish till 5 a.m. And obviously you wouldn't get much sleep, especially if you had school, because it would be on like a Sunday night or whatever, which is crazy. And I remember, because most of the time it used to be on Sky and all that, but I remember one particular Rumble, Royal Rumble 2000, the one when The Rock won, the one when he went over the ropes with the Big Show. That was actually aired on a TV channel, normal terrestrial TV channel called Channel 4. And I remember it had like adverts in between, and it was a bit odd, but they did a few pay-per-views like that. But I specifically remember that one being on the TV. All the others, Royal Rumbles that I've watched, like when I was a young kid, would have been on VHS. You would remember VHS, Michael. I doubt you would, Mav.
Actually, I do.
Oh, you do? Well. Yeah. It takes about 10 hours to rewind.
Yes.
And yeah, I remember having quite a lot of WWE pay-per-views, wrestling, ECW, and even WCW on VHS videos. And I did have a lot of the Royal Rumble events on there. My favourite one, which we'll discuss later, I also had on VHS. So the first thing I wanted to do is the funniest moment in the Royal Rumble. So this could be any. Yeah, this could be anything. This could be like, I don't know. I could think of a load in my head, but it just depends what you found funny and what you think was the funniest, really. So Michael, I'll let you go first. Which was the funniest moment in Royal Rumble history to you?
All right, so I'm just going to whip around back to you. So I'm going to tell you, of course, it's World Titus Slide, because that was the greatest Royal Rumble, which was the worst Royal Rumble ever, which made no sense. I mean, obviously they did it for a Saudi payday. We get it. We understand. Okay. But brass tacks and baseball bats, that was hilarious. When he just goes running, and you would think it was a purposeful dive, but I've looked back at it. His foot did get caught on something. He got snagged, and he went right under there. And then the fact that he tried to crawl right back under the ring to hide the shame for a second, it's hilarious. But honestly, like, Titus has done a lot for the business as far as being an ambassador. And I guess maybe he's on a Legends contract or an ambassador contract. Obviously, his in-ring days are probably over. Maybe he'll show up at the Royal Rumble and we can re-see the slide. But that was one of my funniest moments. And then my next was one I predicted when I first got back. I took like 10 years off of wrestling. Maybe not 10, but close to, maybe like 6 or 7. And my friend Sean Boyce got me back into wrestling. And back when I was running the Absinthe Room on Beale Street in Memphis, Tennessee, we we would watch wrestling upstairs during dead times when I should have been actually working as the guy running the place. But what it came down to was we're just watching like funny stuff, and we brought his like PlayStation up so we could connect it to the internet so we could watch a Royal Rumble. And when Mick Foley went in, I said, "You know what's next?" And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Santino." I said, "They're going to do Sock versus Snake." And he's like, "No, no, no, no." And then Santino came in, and then they did that stare off where they put on the Sock versus the Snake. And Sean was just like, "How do you know this?" I was like, "I just know this. I just know this." I said, "They've been building up to it. That's why he's been putting a sock on his hand. That's the reason." But so I love that moment. So, I mean, it's not the funniest moment, but I loved it because I kind of predicted it. And Sean was just like, "Yeah, you got me on that one." So, all right, Mr. Mav.
All right, so funniest moments to me. So the first time that I had ever seen Hurricane Helms was in a Royal Rumble match. Now, it wasn't the day that it happened because I'll be honest with you guys, grew up kind of in a poor family. We weren't able to afford pay-per-view, so it was a long time after. But I remember I was watching like on one of those collection kind of DVDs. It had I believe it was one of the Triple H ones that came out sometime in the 2000s, and I remember it was showing, I believe it was the 2002 Royal Rumble. Now, during that match, there's for a while where it's basically just Steve Austin and Triple H just going at each other for a while, and eventually it's just them both alone in the ring, and then here comes Hurricane Helms. They're not paying any attention to him. All of a sudden, they both kind of clothesline each other. They both go down, and Helms runs in the ring and looks around like he did something great, and the announcers even acknowledge it, like, does he think that his powers knocked them over or something? And they both get up. He puts both hands on one on each of their throats like he's going to choke slam the both of them, and they both just kind of give him this weird look, and they both just throw him out the ring. And I still will just never forget seeing that, and that was the first time I ever got to see Hurricane Helms. I was like, wow, that superhero really didn't make it very far. And I was maybe 8 or 10 years old at the time, but I just laughed about it. And then the other funny moment that I think about, honestly, it's kind of something that went on throughout the whole match. Just the fact that Mick Foley came out 3 times as different personas. To me, that's just, I mean, it's great character work, and I absolutely love it. I do still find it funny, though. I can't resist but say that is my other funny moment for you guys for Royal Rumbles. I think that was, 1998 when that one happened?
Probably pretty close. You know, I know that Three Faces of Foley, that was another one that we kind of saw coming. Tony Capo and I saw that one coming. He's a comic book shop owner that Mav and I know. But something I was going to interject with is that, you know, that the Hurricane tried to use that clothesline all the time. All the time. Yes. And then he started tagging with Kane, and he actually used it, and I think he took down Christian. And they won the tag titles with it. It's been a long time. It's been over 20 years, but I believe if we recess my brain, that's the truth. But all right, so those are yours. So King Scully, come on, King, talk to us. Tell us about you.
Well, for me, you've already mentioned him, Michael. Santino Marella, but in a different scenario. So Santino has the fastest elimination, and I don't know if you remember it, but he lasted exactly 1.9 seconds, and his music hits, he storms to the ring with his funny run that he used to do. He runs in the ring, and then Kane clotheslines him out. And the funniest bit for me was when he's going, I wasn't ready.
Yes.
And I just found that really funny. And another kind of scenario, same sort of thing, was probably Royal Rumble 1999 when Gilbert comes out. I just love Gilbert because I think he's hilarious. I think, what a class. He's just funny. And he comes out and he's doing all these posing and getting scared of the pyros and sticking his tongue out like Tasmania. And then Edge drop kicks him out. And he literally, he didn't even do anything. He literally just stood there and got drop kicked out. He weren't even looking, and I just found that funny as well.
Fair enough, man.
Very, very nice. Did you know that one of the shortest eliminations was actually the Warlord? And if you look at the size of that guy, you'd be like, how did they eliminate him? But I think it was a 20-second elimination. And then they had another one when one of the Bushwhackers, I think it was Luke, came in doing the Bushwhacker stomp, got in the ring, someone grabbed him by the back of the hair and threw him right out the end of the ring, and he did the Bushwhacker stomp all the way back to the dressing room.
Yeah, I remember that one.
True story. Okay, so what's our next topic?
He lasted 4 seconds, Bushwhacker Luke.
Yeah, and I think Warlord was 20 seconds or something like that. And
Warlord was 2.4 seconds.
Was it really?
Yeah, and that was in 1989 Rumble, which I'll be honest, that I haven't watched that one. That's the one with Big John Studd one, wasn't it? I think.
I don't know. I don't think it was. No, not 94. Studd won the second.
89. Sorry.
Yeah, 89. But yeah, Warlord. I mean, if you guys aren't familiar with the Warlord, he was part of a tag team with the Barbarian. They were called the Powers of Pain. And Warlord is seriously like 6'4", 6'5", and probably 300 something pounds even still today. And he's older than me by at least 15 years, maybe 10 years, whatever. But the guy was just ginormous. He broke into the industry because the Road Warriors loved working out with him back in Minnesota, and he became part of Eddie Sharkey's crew. Out of all the people who came out of Eddie Sharkey's, dungeon, stuff like that, he was one of the guys who worked with them at Grandma B's, and the guy's ginormous. So for him to go out that way, either, now that you mention it, I think he did kind of disappear after that. So maybe he was just on the end of his contract or on the end of just liking working there. So that was it for him. But that one really shocked me. Like the Bushwhacker thing didn't shock me. Now, if you went back to when they're sheep herders, whole different story. But I digress. What is our next topic, my friend?
So the next one is, so you can do this 2 ways. It could be like, so it's, I want you to choose 2 of the greatest appearances in the Royal Rumble. So it could be like someone who never been in a WWE, WWF, whatever, or it could be someone who's returned from an injury that you didn't expect to be there, or it could be anything like that. So we'll go with Mav first, if that's right.
Awesome. So this is just favorite appearances, could be surprise entrance sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite surprise entrant, I am going to say AJ Styles' debut. Honestly, I was a fan of AJ Styles through many years as his TNA tenure was going on. And something that I actually found out recently, before he was ever in TNA, guys, he was in WCW towards the end of their run when WWE Network was still up in the UK towards the end of last year. I was still trying to watch through, trying to find anything that I could find that I was interested in. And I started watching some of the last few episodes of WCW's Nitro and Thunder. And he was, I believe, on the last episode of Thunder that was recorded. He was in a tag team called Air Raid, I want to say. And
Air Paris and Air Styles.
Yeah, exactly. He was around for much longer than we thought. And finally seeing him in WWE was like, it took you this long to get here. But man, I am so glad I got to see it. But yeah, so that's the one that I would say is my favorite surprise entrant. That being including returns. The other one I would say would be Edge coming back after all those years, and everybody just thought he was absolutely done, completely retired. But you know what? He had his surgery, and he was finally able to come back in, 2021? I want to say, maybe 22. I can't remember exactly the years. But didn't Edge come back? What was it? Yeah, it was a few years ago now. But yeah, Edge I would say would be my second top. But yeah, AJ Styles definitely be my favorite. What about you, Scully?
So I've actually got the same, AJ Styles, 2016 Royal Rumble. I loved him in TNA. I thought he was probably one of my favourites in TNA. And then when he came because the great thing about it is no one knew his music, did they? He didn't have the music from TNA, and when the music hit, it was like, who the hell's this? And then it come on the Titantron, I am phenomenal. And then a lot of us, if we know who AJ Styles is, would have gathered who it was. And then I think Roman Reigns looked confused because I remember his face looked like, I don't know, he's seen a ghost or something. And then, yeah, then he came down to the ring and it was just brilliant. And then the other one for me was, you actually mentioned it on one of your others, Mav, is the Mick Foley in 1998. Because, yeah, not so much that it was a surprise or a shock, but I just thought it was the audacity to come out as your three faces, coming out as Cactus Jack, number 1, then number 16 he came out as Mankind, and then 28 he come out as Dude Love, and I just thought it was great. I mean, he had 3 chances to win, and he still bloody couldn't win the thing. But
Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie, I remember that now.
Yeah, and those. What about you, Michael?
Like we all have AJ Styles on this list because we never thought we would actually see him in the ring, and then like when it got closer and closer, everybody really speculated, okay, it's not going to happen. It's been leaked on purpose. This is BS, whatever. I mean, so AJ, once again, I mean, obviously, you know my history with TNA Mav, but I remember watching him as part of he and tagging with Air Paris as Air Styles. When I first saw him in TNA, I was like, I don't know where this guy's going to go. And then when I started watching him wrestle older vets like Jeff Jarrett and things like that, I was like, this guy's got some talent. And then it took so long, like you said. So that's an amazing debut or surprise to come out at the Royal Rumble. Looking back, one of my favorites, and it's so stupid, but it's probably around like 2011, 2012. I'm a huge Booker T fan. And when they were bringing everybody into the ring, when they got ridiculous, when he got up from the commentary booth and he just had a dress shirt on, but his briefs on, I was like, I mean, it's also a comedic point, but I love Booker T that much. Like, I'm just such a fan of Booker T. And I was like, I wish you wouldn't, but I know that you're already, gone on to commentary. But that was like one of my favorite because I didn't see him getting up to go into the match. So I was like, okay, this is cool. So that's something I really enjoyed. I got to say that.
Yeah, I remember Jerry Lawler did that as well. Like I think it was 97, and
yes.
Bret Hart punched him out straight away. And JR was literally laughing at him. It was brilliant.
And that was a fun Rumble. I think that was the same one as Mick Foley and what's his name, the goofball. But I mean, honestly, like at this point, I love a surprise. I love a really good surprise. I don't know if we're gonna get any, but let's keep rolling.
Okay, so the next one I got is most shocking elimination. So we can just have one for this. So an elimination is someone who's maybe like, I don't know, Brooklyn Brawler. I doubt he eliminated anyone, but he could have eliminated Brock Lesnar, which would be brilliant because it'd be hilarious. But yeah, anything like that. So do you have someone for that, Mav?
Okay, so thinking back on surprising eliminations, there's a couple that do come to mind, but I'm going to save one specifically for later because it's my absolute favorite that I've ever seen, and I believe it was the end of the match as well, so I'll save that. But my favorite one that I would say would be, I remember seeing Kane eliminating Big Show, but the way he did it was he literally just picked him up and then just walked him out of the ring over the top rope and dropped him. And to me, that was like, I don't know how much Big Show actually weighs, but you just scooped him up and walked him out of the ring. I don't know what kind of steroids he was on at that point, if he ever was. Not actually saying he was or anything, but holy crap, how were you able to handle that? But yeah, that would be my favorite one. What about you, Gardner?
Oh, that's a really good question. But I would say probably when Karma came in and just used her karma, so to speak, on everybody in the ring, and Michael Cole like eliminated himself, so to speak. Um, it wasn't shocking. It was just like this is the second time that a female has been in the Royal Rumble. I believe it was China 1, Karma 2, and then what's her name?
Aya.
Nia Jax. Yeah, Nia Jax
And
number
would
3.
Beth Phoenix being one as well?
Was Beth Phoenix in there too?
Yeah,
That's
she.
4.
I remember her kissing Carly and then eliminating her.
Oh yeah, the romance.
Yeah,
Yeah. But anyway, it's so that was kind of one because I was like everybody who was in the ring seemed to be like scared of her and got out of the ring really fast. And so it was you can play with it a little bit here and there, but I didn't really believe that they were actually going to put another woman into the Royal Rumble as fast as they did after, everything else. So I just want to say that that's I think is probably like my most okay, what the heck.
yeah. For me, it was when Maven eliminated the Undertaker.
Oh dude.
With a drop kick. I think that was like Royal Rumble 2002, I think. And yeah, Undertaker was the American badass then, weren't he? And
Yeah.
drove his motorbike down the ring or whatever. And yeah, he eliminated him with a single drop kick, and I thought that was hilarious.
Did you see what
You know
happened
whose
after
idea
that?
when Undertaker beat him mercilessly, like on every show that they were on.
I mean,
Yeah.
dragged him like up the stairs through the crowd,
Yeah.
and then eventually like pushed his head through a popcorn machine. And then as like Maven's laying there, his face is bleeding. Undertaker reaches into the popcorn machine, grabs a handful, just starts eating it over him while the fans are like going nuts around them.
That was a callback to the Tupelo, Mississippi. The brawl in the stands, and I mean, if Memphis Mark was on here right now, he'd be like, "Oh yes, that's what." Let me try to do my best, Memphis Mark. Oh yeah, that's what was going on. They did the Tupelo, Mississippi brawl stand, and it was a good homage. But anyway, getting back to it, that was Undertaker's idea.
Really?
Oh yeah, Maven's put it out on his show, and then I've listened to some of the stuff with Chris Van Fleet, who actually listens to the show apparently because he's done shows with Mark, but or excuse me, Matt. But he's like basically Undertaker has come out and said like, yeah, that was like kind of his idea.
Yeah, to be fair, I have seen a few Maven's podcasts, and they're quite good actually.
He's not a bad podcaster. He's actually, like shout out to Maven Huffman. I mean, you're doing your own thing. You lived your life, man. You did it. You made it in wrestling. You survived. Good for you, bro.
Yeah, pretty informative guy, honestly. I've seen a couple of things from him, like explaining how the salaries worked and everything. Very good info, not gonna lie.
That is a really good episode, actually, when he shows how much he's purported to make and then what he actually took home. Like, dude, man, I feel for you. But I mean, we've all been in that situation. We're in a money pinch. So, all right. So where are we right now, Scully?
So we're now. So this could be like, this would be Royal Rumbles overall. So it doesn't have to be one particular Royal Rumble. It could be maybe they were in a few Royal Rumbles, and every time they impressed you. So basically, it's your most impressive participant in a Royal Rumble. So I will give you that to go first, Michael.
Ric Flair. He lasted like what, an hour in there? I mean, just insane. But he was used to going an hour, but just to have that many different opponents, to adapt to that many different styles and everything else that he had to do to make that match be pulled off. Of course, Ric Flair. I'm always going to say Ric Flair on a lot of stuff. And then the other one's the Fallen One. So you already know who I'm talking about. And that was Chris Benoit. Because at the end, I don't think even though I was buying it and believing it and wanting him to win, I really thought they're just going to put over Big Show. They're just going to make him look strong again and put over Big Show. And then when he took out Big Show, I was like, all right, the push is real. I followed you for 20 years. Now I finally get to see something. So that's basically what I got on that. I know it's hard to say the name of the fallen one, but if you look at his in-ring, it was amazing. If you look what he did in life, it was god-awful terrible. Nav?
Okay, so mine's going to be a little bit different. I think I'm going to keep mine just to one for this, but I would say probably the best that I had seen and who I was kind of most impressed by, or who I thought, you know what, I'm expecting him to stay in for a long time again, Triple H. I feel like 2002, he won the Rumble. And honestly, he was in there for, I want to say, at least half of it. And him and Stone Cold going back and forth for a while. It was still fun to watch, very entertaining. And then 2006, he and Rey Mysterio, they drew 1 and 2. And then I believe Triple H was eliminated at like second to last or something like that. Yeah, he was second to last eliminated, if I remember correctly. And seeing how long that he lasted in there, as well as what they were doing in the ring, both him and Rey Mysterio, it was very good match, honestly, for what they could do with it. I really enjoyed the
body damage.
Yeah, they were going for a long time. That takes a lot of endurance to just keep going like that, and I give him credit. I'm not the biggest Triple H fan, but I tip my hat to him for Royal Rumble specifically. Scully, what about you, man?
So for me, so this is like overall like, and the most annoying thing about it is he never won a single Royal Rumble, and it's quite shocking really, but he definitely should have won one, and that's Kane. I thought every time he come out, he's just amazing. Like, it'd eliminate quite a few people or whatever. Half the time when he got eliminated, no one actually eliminated him. He eliminated himself. So yeah, he really impressed me. I really enjoyed his role in the Rumble, but like I said, it's a shame he didn't win. And the other one is probably, I really enjoyed Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble, especially in the one where he literally dominated it and was when he pretended to like hug Shelton Benjamin and threw him out, and MVP. And I think that's the one when Drew McIntyre won, I think, 2020,
yeah.
I think. But yeah, I liked Brock Lesnar in that one as well. I thought that was a good Rumble.
Valid. All right, so what are we looking at next?
So this is the one now. So this is your favourite Royal Rumble match. So which Royal Rumble for you, which match is your favourite? Which, like, I know mine, I've watched it a million times, but we'll go with you, Mav, first.
Okay, so my favorite one is going to be that 2006 Rumble. Reason being, from the start, it is kind of emotional in a way, because you see Rey Mysterio comes out in the lowrider. He's wearing an Eddie Guerrero t-shirt. He's got armbands that say EG on it, and even the announcers are acknowledging and saying he is paying homage to Eddie Guerrero at the moment. And he's flipping the switches for the hydraulics. He's bouncing up and down. He's having a good time. Goes into the ring, puts on a great performance throughout that hour-long match, it seemed like, that was going on. And throughout it, you kind of just see Rey just doesn't want to give up, doesn't want to quit on it. And then towards the end, you start to see it's just him and Orton in the ring. Him and Orton are just duking it out, and then you see Rey somehow, some way at the very end, as Orton's looking to eliminate him, somehow get up and do somewhat of a Hurricane Rana or maybe a head scissors sort of maneuver as he's flying over the ropes, just barely catches onto the ropes, swings himself back in the ring after he just threw Orton right over the top. And honestly, beautiful moment, and I thought nobody else could deserve this any more than Rey at that moment. And yeah, I've always been a fan of Rey Mysterio and Luchador Wrestling, so I really, really loved the end and just that whole match in general. What about you, Gardner?
Oh, well, I got to go with the most botched of all time, when we have Batista and Cena going over at the same time, and then Vince McMahon comes out and tears his quadriceps. I mean, come on. There was no higher payoff and low pay than that one right there, because it was completely botched at the end. And I don't really think it was botched. I just think that their weights, because they were so big and such big bricks, that they just didn't realize what they were doing. And just all the aftermath after that. Okay, let's restart the match, and then Vince is sitting in the ring. I mean, it's a very historical point in WWE history. So I'm gonna go with that one, because if I didn't go with that one, I would go with watching the black and white on little box TV in my bedroom, trying to see who was going to win the Royal Rumble on the USA Network for free, many, many years ago. So, because it was free for view, it was a free pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it. But it was something like I got to watch that was premium. So those like a couple of moments that really stand out to me. But I mean, watching McMahon just, I mean, he was so angry. You could tell he was legitimately angry. And then when he hit the ring, and for him to keep character and not scream, because any one of us tears a quad, we're going to scream and we're going to be holding it. And he didn't do that. So good on him. I don't like him, but good on him. And I'll say it's hilarious how they had to restart the match and do a whole new match over again. So, and it tells you it was scripted right there. So, and then there's just a lot of things to it. That's why I really like it.
I'm surprised that's your favourite, to be fair. But obviously it's up to you. But like, I thought, because you mentioned it earlier, I thought yours was going to be the same as mine, which was the 1992 Royal Rumble when Ric Flair won.
It's a great one. Trust me, it's a great one. And it was a one-of-a-kind Royal Rumble. And especially for Rick to be so much smaller than Hogan and Sid and to dump him over the top ropes. Great. It was just great. Like, the whole thing, scripted front to back, was great. But when we talk about the Royal Rumble being unpredictable, which is the biggest thing, that's my moment. Because who knew Vince was going to tear his legs up and the wrong person won?
Yeah, I
Or
suppose.
at that point, the wrong person didn't really win, but, So what about predictions for this year, guys?
Well, there's a lot that I have in predictions. So with the TNA merger, there's a lot on the table right now. But if I could predict anybody is going to be in either Rumble, I'm going to say, first off, Gail Kim, no dice. I think she is going to make a return for this one time only. And obviously she's not going to win it, but I think she will be in the Women's Royal Rumble. I also think that they could pull Tessa Blanchard, but I think they are going to pull Jordynne Grace for sure, because she has left TNA at this point. I think this is going to be a perfect opportunity for her to debut as I don't know if they would rename her at this point, or if they just say, hey, it's our newest signing as a WWE talent now. Jordynne Grace is in the Rumble, or something like that. I think this would be the perfect opportunity for her. Now, also under...
Well, she did get to be Jordynne Grace at last year's Rumble. Remember that?
Exactly.
So anyway, as you were saying, I apologize.
No, you're all good, man. I mean, rather have a conversation than just, awkwardly list things off. But so next thing that I'm going to say, because of his popularity over the past year, Joe Hendry's definitely going to be in it. Overall, I think still not a bad move. I think he's still popular right now. I think Ace Austin could make another entrant just to be adding on with the whole TNA merger, or partnership, I should say. But winners, this is where it can get kind of tricky. Well, backtrack for a second. So also, who would they announce him as? Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth? Which one are they going to say his name as?
Ooh, that's a good call.
I would say Dolph Ziggler, I reckon.
That's...
Yeah, but he's contracted to TNA. He's got to be Nick Nemeth. Or they could say Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. That's what they'll do.
Probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, so beyond that, winners. Now, for the Women's Royal Rumble, I'm not really sure who I am expecting. I think it's going to be a really big surprise this time. I am not sure at all for the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm going to leave that just to you guys, I guess. But for the men's, I'm going to take the long shot here. I'm going to say I think it's going to be CM Punk this year. I think this time they're finally going to give him the main event of Mania, unless they try to really push this whole Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and him rivalry still at that point. But I think this would be the time for them to finally say, you know what, this is what you've said you wanted for however long. Here's the main event finally. Have it. Take it. So, yeah, that's my predictions. Scully, what do you got for us, man?
So I did see that apparently, and this could surprise, well, it's not really a surprise, but it could be like a bit of a cringe moment because God knows how old he is. But apparently there's going to be an appearance of Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the Rumble.
God, no.
I also seen possibility of Mick Foley being in the Rumble.
And
there was one more, but I can't think who it was.
Flair?
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, Ric Flair. Now, he needs to just hang up his boots, but we've been saying that for 20 years, but, you know.
Flair. I'm not sure if Flair will actually make it to that. I also saw a report that potentially Hogan. I really don't want to see that. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
God, no.
He'd get booed out the building, wouldn't he?
I mean, what if he comes out as Hollywood Hogan?
Yeah, that could work.
And it's okay, yeah, he's a heel again.
That actually works a lot. He comes out as Hollywood Hogan, playing the air guitar, acting like a jerk.
Bischoff
is with him. Bischoff's working with MLW, but still, I don't think he's under any kind of contract, so he can show up anywhere he wants. And he was in NXT like a few months ago. So that could be a lot of fun. Wow. You good calls, man. Really, really good calls. Wow. You guys, you had a lot of great Royal Rumble sense. I love the way that we've talked about this. I think that it's been like very, very great and very interactive, very enlightening, because a lot of people don't know as much about the Rumbles if they don't research them all, especially if some of our listeners aren't as old as we are, and I'm damn near 50, and I know Scully, you're not that far behind me, and Mav, I know you're pretty far behind me. But if you haven't grown up in our era, you know, you don't understand all the Royal Rumbles, and it's not like I'm talking down to you. I'm just telling you straight up, like it became a match for fun to see if they could do something, and then it became something that became a stipulation and became a pay-per-view or PLE, whatever you want to call it these days. I still call it a pay-per-view because it's not for free. And at the end of the day, it's one of the most exciting matches, you know, in the whole universe, like, to me, because like I said, I hate the Elimination Chamber, and I hate Money in the Bank. I think that they've just like totally defecated upon all the undercard titles, and the Royal Rumble to some extent has done that, but it was supposed to be, okay, well, you get to fight the winner. Well, I can understand if you fought from 1 all the way through 30, but if you came out 30 and you didn't do jack squat, you shouldn't have to fight the number 1 person, the world champion. So
I hear that.
I have my thoughts on it, and especially some of the victors of it, like Vince McMahon. You know, some of the things.
That was a terrible Rumble looking at it, you know.
Yeah, that was total pants. It was just garbage.
I watched that one the other day, funny enough, and watching it now, there's hardly no action in the ring because all they're concentrating on is the Stone Cold and Vince McMahon story, and I mean, they're fighting in the back and the cameraman's behind there, and no one's even cares what's going on in the Rumble, which is quite bad, really. And then there's a bit where Undertaker, Mideon, and the Acolytes beat up Mabel and take him away.
Yeah.
And that's another.
That was a key player right there, Mabel.
Yeah. But like there's a lot of faffing around and messing around, which weren't like normally the cameras should be on the Rumble match itself, shouldn't they? But
Yeah.
during that whole match, there was hardly ever in the ring.
Agreed there.
I would definitely. Sir?
Sorry, I was going to say, let's get back to Scully's predictions there. I think we kind of cut him off after he had listed who he thinks will be a surprise entrance there.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say for the record that I hated last year's Royal Rumble. Not just because Cody Rhodes won it, because don't get me wrong, he's a good wrestler and I liked him in AEW, and believe it or not, I liked him in WWE before he came back. But this character does my head in a bit like Matt. But like, it was too predictable. Everybody knew he was going to win. Where I think this year, it's really hard to choose a winner. Like, you got John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio. I don't think Rey Mysterio would win, but all these are quite big names. Like, they're all main eventers, aren't they? So will we see a returning Randy Orton? Will we see a returning Brock Lesnar maybe? Will we see there's another one, maybe Big E will come out if Kofi and Xavier Woods are in the Rumble and throw them out. There's a lot of, I don't know, I think this one's the most exciting one for a while, because we all know, we don't know who's going to win. Where I think last year we all knew Cody Rhodes was going to win, if you get what I mean, because he had to finish his story, didn't he?
I totally get it. Like, if I had to predict like somebody, like I wanted to predict like Joe Hendry also. I mean, if he doesn't come out, like the place is gonna just go soiled. I think that it would be fun if what's his name from NXT, the number 10, help me out here. He's going by Sean Spears. Sean Spears comes out as number 10.
The chairman.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing him come out at number 10 just for one small comedy spot, because I loved what he did with the first AEW when they had their version of like a Royal Rumble, and he hit somebody and they all screamed 10, and then he raised his finger and he did the middle finger and everybody screamed 11, and I loved that.
Yeah.
So there's, but they said he's like kind of translating to a backstage role. And honestly, I would like to see Nick Aldis, because it looks like they're building something towards Nick Aldis and Kevin Owens. And if you've never seen Nick Aldis wrestle, oh my God, he's amazing. So that could be really interesting. So Nick Aldis in the Royal Rumble, and shoot, ladies, Masha Slamovich from TNA. Masha Slamovich would be amazing. And a lot of people who are saying it could happen. Malachi / Aleister Black. What about that?
Right now, it is potentially possible. He's kind of kept his whereabouts and his dealings secret right now for what's going on with AEW. So it could happen. And right now, that'll be a conversation for another day for what's all going on at AEW. It looks like they are on a huge downslide, and it's disappointing to see. So much promise, but
yeah, I know my nephew. I know.
I mean, the women's side, I'm not really bothered. Not like in a horrible way, but I think obviously Charlotte Flair's coming back. Will she be in the Rumble? Or,
I can see that.
And do we really care if Becky Lynch comes back? Because I don't. She does my head in. Or maybe an Alexa Bliss, where she gone? She just disappeared off the face of the earth.
I mean, I'd like that, because I honestly thought she was talented. I think that there was a lot more to her than people gave on to, just because she was so much smaller.
What about AJ Lee?
Say what?
AJ Lee?
Oh, God, that would be... AJ Gross would be so awesome in that match. Okay, let me tell you. She finally wrestling. I mean, she had Paige to work with and a couple others who were on her level, but she was really far ahead of what she should have been doing at the time that she had left. And now to have like actually talented wrestlers with her, my gosh, AJ Lee would be so amazing. So amazing. And yes, I do think she's absolutely beautiful, so that's why I call her AJ Gross. I don't care. But
I can imagine maybe seeing like, I don't know, maybe the usual Tori Wilson or a Trish Stratus or Alita or something like that, maybe.
well, with Nick Aldis being there, you could have Mickey James because that's his wife, things like that. So, that all makes sense to me. But at this point, like Jordan Grace is definitely going to be there. I think at this point it's like a foregone conclusion. I'm just kind of looking more at just what's going to be maybe a true surprise or something like that. And it's hard for me to like pick my brain for like a really, really true surprise. And usually as a fantasy booker, I can do things like this, but I know that there's, what about Phoenix? What about Phoenix?
Could be possible. My mind kind of just went to what if they were to do an NXT call up for what was her name, Stephanie Vakir?
Okay, that's a good one.
I think she's very talented.
Yeah,
I think she could
there'd definitely be NXT people, won't they?
There might be.
Or Alexander Hammerstone. That guy looks like a brick, and he idolized Triple H, so he's gonna get a job there at one point or another. But yeah, Hammerstone, geez, I mean, if they don't capitalize on him now, they are really just letting time, like the sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives, and they're just letting that be wasted. But I mean, Hammerstone has so much left in his tank, so much more left in his tank, and if they don't capitalize on him within the next 3 to 4 years, man, you're just twiddling your thumbs. So that's one that I would like to see. Or who I'd like to see in a WWE ring? Frankie Kazarian.
Interesting, especially seeing as Christopher Daniels just retired. Man, that kind of hurts me a little bit. But yeah, that'd be an interesting one to see.
I mean, I would love to see it, and I could see them saying, all right, like, let's give him his spot. So I think he tried out for like dark matches and stuff like that, like way back in the day. I mean, also people don't know that like AJ Styles did, and so did. In fact, I think AJ Styles lost to the Hurricane, and Roderick Strong lost to Kurt Angle. I mean, there was a lot of people that they were testing the indie markets. They were going around the world, but they didn't have. It was before they truly established OVW as the hub. But I think that's where they're looking for people and saying to Cornette and Danny Davis back then, pick these people up. But brass tacks and baseball bats is like they're, oh God, before someone retires, if they could be in a Royal Rumble, so somebody from a different place who they might give a pass to, who would it be?
Different place before they retire from a different company, basically?
Yeah, or they could be retired.
I mean, this is kind of a hard one, but seeing as Christopher Daniels is like he just claimed his retirement, I could see them giving him like a one-time pass to be like, hey man, if you want to come through just to fill a slot for the 30-man, come on in. I could see them doing that for him, but at the same time, I think he might still be under contract with AEW. He's probably working in creative or something with them at this point.
I believe you're right, but just looking at the whole situation, you might get a one-time pass. I mean, they let Jericho work with Stone Cold when he was signed to AEW to do Stone Cold's podcast, which was on the WWE Network. So you never know.
That's true.
And it's always supposed to be unpredictability. What about you, Scully? What one person who could be retired or unretired, but you don't see could be there, but you wish?
I think I like to see even though I don't really like him now because I kind of feel like he just isn't as good in the ring as he once was, but you just mentioned him. Jericho would be a good shout.
Yeah.
They definitely put on a lot with that. Yeah. Yeah, they
Or,
could put on a lot with that.
I would love if he had one more stint in WWE, and that would be Christian, because I think he's amazing.
Oh yeah.
It's so sad to see that he's like so Christian. I don't know. Like I hope he has 5 more years left in him. It doesn't have to be in front of the mic. It could be behind the scenes as being a producer, because I think that he could be a brilliant producer. So definitely, that's a great pick. And I would go with, and you're gonna laugh at me, guys, but the very first podcast I ever did with Rocky T, the Great Muta.
Good shout.
That'd be an interesting one. Hey, Scully, you know Muda's coming to the UK soon?
Yeah, I heard about that. Are you going to go and see him?
Hope to, but we'll see what happens, pricing and having to travel and everything, you know how it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. For anybody that's wondering, there's a lot of these guys that are traveling around and they do autographs and meet and greets and stuff. So just look them up, guys. Sometimes you can find Comic-Cons or whatever they're going to. But anyways, back on topic, that is a really great pick because Muda is very talented, especially back in his heyday. But him now, I think he would still be able to perform very well between him and maybe Tajiri as well. That'd be interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Plus the fact that hasn't the Undertaker made a couple appearances lately, and who have they never seen go head to head? Muda and the Undertaker. And Undertaker did go head on head with Sting when he was Mean Mark Callis. So when people say they never faced each other one on one, no, it was never in a WWE ring under rebranded names. But that's Muda one last time. Oh gosh, could you imagine? Place would light up. I mean, at least the elder statesmen like me who've been like the hardcore 1 million, and then the younger 2 to 3 million like you, Mav.
Those who know who
And
Muda
Scully.
is.
Yeah, and Scully in the middle. It's a different dynamic. So
I would love like Shawn Michaels to have one last go, but we know that ain't gonna happen.
Well, if he were to enter the Rumble, I think it would be for a really quick spot and just that quick pop at this point. I think he's just so far past his prime. I think he just wants to be done with it. I think he'd come in probably shirt on as well, just like, yeah, I'm not getting back in complete shape to be there for a few seconds, because I don't think he really wants to be performing as much anymore outside of just some mic work,
That sounds about right at this point. I hate to say it, but I agree.
He's got to retire at some point, man. I mean, you can't go forever. He doesn't want to. I don't mean this in a bad way, but he doesn't want to be like Flair and just never want to retire fully, sort of thing, or Terry Funk.
Yeah, and to be fair, his last stint with Triple H and Kane and Undertaker was quite bad, wasn't it?
I heard about that. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of long-winded like returns. That's like, dude, this isn't gonna work for you, especially if it's for a one-night thing. It's just not worth it. Just stay gone or help with creative, man. But all right, guys, do we have any other topics that we want to try to cover here, or should we just wrap this thing up and go into recommendations for the week for our listeners?
Well, I've got nothing else that I want to go into as far as the topic. I just want everybody to have a great Royal Rumble 2 weeks, because basically it is actually like 10 days away or something like that. So it's going to be very interesting. This gives everybody a reason to watch Access TV and watch a little bit of TNA, which their feeder system is Ohio Valley Wrestling, which is here in Louisville. So it's very interesting because I was actually going to cover like one of their pay-per-views like a year or so ago, and I asked Matt his permission on it, and he was cool with it, but I just never did it. I had to work that night and couldn't get off in time to be there. But I'm going to give you a recommendation on a movie. So if you want to see a weird psychological movie, it's called Bubble. It's by Steven Soderbergh. The guy's a brilliant director, and it was filmed with no actual actors. Everybody was a local person who lived wherever they were. It's about basically people who work in a toy factory who start to go a little nutso. And you can reach me at 144Captain on X. And also, I want to say a happy good night to Dennis McGowan and his best friend, Butch.
All right. So my recommendation for any of the listeners out there, I'm actually going to go a little bit different than my usual. So this time I'm going to say actually a poem that I recommend. It's called If by Rudyard Kipling. I just remember back in when I was in basic training at the very end. Now, basic training, everybody goes to church service or something on Sundays because that is like a little bit of time off. You're not going to get yelled at or anything when you go to church. It's kind of a nice little time. For the very last service, the pastor that was running it was saying, yeah, guys, this is my last one at this church. So I'm going to leave you guys with this one thing. And it's just this poem that a lot of people here really do appreciate. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. And once again, you guys can reach me at MaintenanceMav on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it at this point. And as my usual, do something nice for somebody. You never know who needs it out there. Some people need to pick me up once in a while. And with that, I'm out. Scully, recommendation and close it out, buddy.
Yeah, recommendation. So I haven't really watched any films recently or any TV series in particular. But the only thing I would recommend is I was recently watching a series called Time, and it's quite good. It's about a guy who goes to prison for drink driving. Basically, it's a mini series sort of thing. He goes to prison for drink driving, and he's in prison with a bunch of convicts and people who's murdered and stuff. Where he was like a normal guy, but he got drunk, ran over someone, and he's trying to deal with prison. It's got some good actors in it, so I'd recommend that. And then you can always reach me if you want to on X or Twitter, whatever they call it, at MichaelScully86. And if you want to watch some silly videos, you can also see me on TikTok with the same name, at MichaelScully86.
You know, I'm not a huge TikTok guy or anything, but I do enjoy some of the stuff that you'll send us once in a while, man. Like seeing his, I think it was a Stone Cold entrance that he mimicked, and man, it was hilarious. But yeah,
the running off the logs kind of made me laugh, or whatever they were that you were running off of was hilarious.
Oh, glad.
Also, I'm going to throw out a recommendation for the three of us. I want to do the movie The One and Only. It stars Henry Winkler, and it's about a Broadway wrestler or a Broadway actor who turns pro wrestler to pay and make sure his family doesn't starve. And it's a very interesting movie. It's from 70s, maybe early 80s, but it's an awesome movie, and the end is the payoff, and it makes you laugh, and it makes you just kind of say, I love wrestling.
Okay, I'll definitely check that one out.
all right. Sounds good to me. All right.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.